Thank you for coming. This is an event on WordPress for photographers. We're going to be covering WordPress.com. Some of you may be familiar with its variation called WordPress.org. WordPress.org is really for major techies, large publications, and the like, but WordPress.com is much more user-friendly and can do pretty much everything that WordPress.org can. It's also much more affordable. At the end of the event, you'll be able to go out there, create your own blogs, start scheduling up content, monitor your traffic, integrate it with social media, and basically go out there and have a blog that you can call your own. Quick disclaimer before we start though, I've been using WordPress for years, but I do not know every single aspect of it. And the reason why is because of the fact that there's quite a couple things that WordPress gives me that I don't really need to know. So I'm going to be focusing on a lot of the things that I feel many of you will need to know, that I've learned, and that you'll pretty much really care about. And that's really all that you'll need to essentially just go out there and create the content that you want. So before we get started though, I just want to kind of get to know you guys a little bit more. How many of you have blogged before? Can I see raise of hands, please? Cool. Of those of you that have blogged before, how many of you have used Blogger, also known as Blogspot? Can I have those hands one more time, please? Cool. How many of you have used Tumblr before? Okay, a couple of you. I know this event's about WordPress, but how many of you actually have used WordPress before? I know there are a couple of you. Quite a bit of you, okay. What about photo sharing services? How many of you have used Flickr before? How many of you used 500px? Do you also use 500px's blogging interface as well too?
I actually just got started with it. I've been using SmugMug and trying out different sharing sites, seeing what's best in terms of my workflow.
Okay, that's understandable then. What about Facebook? And go ahead, everyone raise your hands. How many of you are on Facebook? And Twitter? How many of you have heard and are on Pinterest? Pinterest, Pinterest. A couple of you, okay. So the reason why I asked those questions is because of the fact that as WordPress basically being the most powerful blogging platform that there is out there, it's very easy for you to integrate your photo sharing services and your social media all into one place and make it all really, really super easy for you. So we're going to be covering that as well too. I'm going to ask that everyone please try to hold all questions until the end as well too. I'm going to try to allow for maybe 45 minutes or a half-hour Q&A session towards the end. All of you, I'm sure, got those little handouts at the beginning of the class. There should be a lot of key terminology on there that I will be talking about that if you really don't understand it, you can just basically read along there and should be able to explain pretty much everything that I'm talking about on there for you. So with that said, let's go create a blog. So earlier on, I actually took the liberty of creating a username earlier on, but in WordPress, you will have to go ahead and create your own username. So I'm just going to log in at the moment. Thank you for the confidence, guys. I appreciate that. So right now, I'm logged in to basically the kind of homepage of WordPress, and I want to create a blog. How do I do that then? So I'm going to click on Create a Blog. First off, also, can everyone see the monitor perfectly fine? I'm going to assume that's a yes. Yes. And if you can't, I mean, there are the monitors on the side there. So I'm going to create a blog. So I'm going to hit Create a Blog. And now it's going to give me the option, once again, to create a blog. And they are totally right. Start posting to a new blog in seconds. That opened me up to a new tab where I'm basically taken here. Now, if you are creating a username, as soon as you hit WordPress.com, it will also immediately take you to this screen. But because of the fact that I needed to create a username beforehand, I didn't have this screen immediately. So now I'm going to create a blog. The blog that I'm going to create today is all about street photography. It's something that I'm actually fairly passionate about. It's one of the things that I do, I'm also a studio portrait photographer, and I've also been an event and wedding photographer for years as well. But right now I really love street photography, and I actually don't have my own street photography blog right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and create that. I'm gonna call it Chris Gampat Street Photography. I spelt that right? Yeah. Streetphotography.wordpress.com. That little check means that it has not been taken. The URL that I will get is going to be chrisgampatstreetphotography.wordpress.com, and that's free, as you see right there. But they say, did you know the address chrisgampatstreetphotography.com is available? That means if I want my readers to basically just have to go to chrisgampat.streetphotography.com instead of chrisgampatstreetphotography.wordpress.com and make it easier on them, I could just go ahead and buy that domain name, and I can do that for $17 a year. Name of your blog. I will call it Chris Gampat Street Photography. Do I want my blog to be private, or do I want it to be visible to everyone? You have three choices here. You have viewable by everyone, you have viewable by everyone, but to block search engines. That means that anyone with the URL will be able to go there, but your URL will not be picked up by Google or Bing or AOL or other search engines out there. Or you can make it totally private, and that means that basically almost no one will be able to see it. I want everyone to see it though, so I'm going to enable view by everyone. What language will you be blogging in? I'm going to be blogging in English, but you basically have a whole slew of languages, some that I can't even pronounce over here as well too. Think about upgrading. There are two choices. There's the free version, as you see here, and you see all the benefits you have here, or there's the upgrade that you get. Later on in the interface, they will actually call this the Pro version. They'll call it WordPress Pro. That's actually really, really new. But for the most part, for right now, I'm just going to create a blog. So I'm going to hit Create Blog. Choose a starter theme for chrisgampatstreetphotography.wordpress.com. Now, those of you that are familiar with WordPress already, and there were actually quite a bit of you, and that are familiar with Tumblr, one of you please raise your hand and tell me what a theme is. Anyone want to volunteer? Yes, miss?
The basic design of the site, the graphics, visual interface.
That's absolutely correct. A theme is the basic design of the site, and it's essentially the graphic interface. So the theme that I have that I will pick right now will dictate the way that my site works, and it will basically dictate how easy it is for people to go ahead and navigate. But also remember too that this is a photography blog. I'm mostly just going to use it to show off my street photography, and I'm positive many of you will use your blogs just to show off your photography as well. There are themes that are specifically designed for photographers. There are a couple on that sheet that I gave you. I will be using one of them today, but let's take a look at what we have at the moment, though.
This is what came up today, because we've got thousands of themes.
Her question was, this is what came up today because they have thousands and thousands. Yes, this is what came up today, but you're absolutely right. Later on, we will be able to look at thousands and thousands of different themes as well, too. So for the moment, I don't really like any of these. The closest that I may want to look at is maybe autofocus. So maybe I can choose autofocus at the moment, once it loads up. So I can probably go with this for the moment. So I'll say choose this theme. And it will activate the theme. Cool. Now, this is the WordPress dashboard. First off, just to let you guys know, WordPress.com has two major different interfaces. This is the dashboard that is going to be very familiar to the people that use WordPress.org. It's also very familiar to the people that have used WordPress for a while. But they have a brand new interface as well too that's kind of more Tumblr-like, and that we're going to hit home on a little bit later on. Also, just very quickly, I want to point out Upgrade to Pro. Remember I talked to you guys about that earlier on. This will basically let you do a whole bunch of different upgrades to your site very quickly and very easily. Anyway, though, here's the dashboard. First off, just to let you guys know, this little panel here on the left will always stay stagnant for the most part. So that's really how you're going to navigate around the entire dashboard if you need to and get from one place to another. But right here on the main page of the dashboard, you have a couple of different little, I'm going to say they're kind of like widgets that you can interact with at the moment. I have one post, which is basically a blog post that WordPress creates for you immediately. I have one page. A page is kind of like basically a specific post or subsection of your website that constantly stays stagnant. For example, maybe an About Me page, giving like a little bit of a profile information on me. Categories we're going to get to, and same with comments, approval, and everything else. But basically, if you don't want to have all these, you can either collapse them, just like that, or you can get rid of some of them, or you were able to before, but now you can't. You can also add more here if you want to as well, too. But it's basically a very quick way for you to log in, and you can get a quick glimpse of everything that's going on your website. Now, if I want to create a blog post, how would I do that? Right over here on the left-hand side, you have the posts area. Now, if I click on that, I basically can see all of my posts. This is the default post that WordPress gives you immediately. It's called Hello World, and they basically just say, again, Hello World in the post. I'll delete that in a little bit, but that's not really content that I really want to showcase on my website at the moment. So I want to create a brand new blog post. In order to do that, I'm going to click this little button up here that says Add New. And now it's going to bring me to a slightly different interface to add a new post. Right here, I have the title of the post that I can basically give the post a title. So I'm going to actually what will I do for my first blog post? I'm going to say an old street photography photo that I love. And in a bit, I'm actually going to upload that photo here. But right here is where you would actually go ahead and start creating your content. Those of you that are familiar with Microsoft Word or any other platform like that, some of these buttons will look very familiar. That's bold, that's italicized, that's strike through, that's block quotes, and then there's a whole bunch of justifying settings there as well too. There's also linking and a couple of other things as well too. Something that a lot of people don't know about with WordPress though is that you can actually make this much larger and unlock even more powers within the interface. I love calling them powers, by the way. So right here is something called the kitchen sink, and when I click that, notice how the new bar comes up, and I get even more editing ability that I really need and that is essential to creating the blog post. So right now, I actually want to upload an image and I want to say something about it. So in order to do that, I'm going to hover over these little buttons over here. I have Add Media. I have Add Poll if I actually want to put in a poll for people, like readers, to vote on something. And I also have Add a Custom Form. In order to add a photo, I'm going to click on Add Media right here. It's going to load up, and I can choose from my computer. I can choose a URL for a photo already existing on the internet, or I can choose from my media library. And the media library is basically a collection of all the photos that I may have uploaded already. But I haven't uploaded any photos since this is a brand new blog, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select a file. I'm going to go to Chris Gampat Street Photos, and I'm going to choose, which photo do I want? I'm going to choose this one right here. So I double-clicked on it, it uploaded, and there you go. I have it right here. If any of you have taken my metadata class, you'll also know that it's a very good idea to try to downsize your photos for the web to try to find a balance between server load times so that whoever is viewing your photo on their computer or their iPad or their iPhone won't have to wait forever in order for the photo to upload and rather download. And in addition to that, it also saves space. You're only limited, I think WordPress.com only gives you around 2 gigabytes of free space for photos, and then you have to upgrade after that, and upgrading does cost money, as you'll see later on. So I want to embed this photo into the post, and I have different sizes that I can choose. I have a thumbnail, I have a medium, I have large, and I have full size. At the moment, though, I think I'm going to actually I'll choose full size. And I'm actually going to say use it as a featured image. Now, when I click on that, basically when someone goes to share this post on, let's say, their Facebook or a Pinterest or a Tumblr or something like that, it will automatically pull that one photo because of the fact that I'm saying that's the one photo that's going to represent this entire blog post. So I'm going to choose use as featured image, and I'm going to insert it into the post just like that. And there we go. Now, as you notice right now, I'm scrolling up and down, and if I wanted to go ahead and type anything, I'd have to click there, press enter, and say, I love this old couple just hanging out at Seaport. Now, scrolling up and down can be a little annoying after a while. So what you can actually do with the entire interface is you can just click to expand and drag just like that. So it's much easier for you. Or if you want to go full screen, there's also an option for that as well too. It is usually right over here. Toggle full screen mode. And there you go. Now it'll be much easier for me to edit if I want to. But I don't want to do that right now, so I'm going to exit full screen by clicking right up here on the top left corner. At the moment, though, do I really want to say anything else about this? Let's see. I beg your pardon? I can't hear you, I'm sorry. A credit? No. She basically was suggesting that I try to credit myself. I don't really want to credit myself at the moment, actually, because one, these are my own photos, and two, believe it or not, my watermark is actually right down there, but it's very, very subtle. You might not be able to see it. So I'm going to say, I love this old couple just hanging out at Seaport. I hope that I can do this too when I retire. Cool. So for the most part, I'm pretty much done creating the real content. Now, let's create a category for this to be categorized and filed into. Categories basically make it much easier for you to file away different posts on your blog. So if this is a street photography blog, and let's say I'm a guy that travels all over the world taking photos in different locations, maybe I may want to have something like a category called New York. Maybe I want to have another one called Tokyo, maybe another one called London, maybe another one of people sleeping on benches in New York. It really varies. You really just have to try to figure out where your blog is going to go and try to create those categories. But you can always go ahead and delete them afterwards if you'd like as well too. But for the moment, I'm just going to create this category and call it New York. Actually, New York City. So, category. Now I'm done creating that. Click Add New Category. And there you go. Now I have the New York City category selected. Tags. Tags is another big thing from my metadata event. Tags basically enable your post to be searchable on Google and other search engines quite easily. And in addition to that, WordPress.com has its own search engine that lets you search within its own content sphere, essentially. So what do I want to say about this? Seaport. Old couple. Street photography, because this is a street photography blog. New York City. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say for the moment. I'm just going to add 4 tags. Generally, you don't want to have more than 10 because then Google will sit there, look at you, and be like, what are you doing, essentially? You can confuse Google. It is really possible. And for the most part, I mean, we're pretty much ready to go. So I want to publish this post. Let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to hit publish right here. I'm going to ask that you also use only Canon cameras if you're in the front row as well too, if you don't mind. So, publish the post. This is what the post looks like on my blog. Let's just make sure that that's what it looks like. This is a brand new interface that WordPress.com will give you after you've published a post. But let's go to the website itself. So let's open this in a new tab. So this is Chris Gampat streetphotography.wordpress.com. This is the Hello World post that they gave me. And notice how it's basically only taking a small portion of my photo and putting it there. It's kind of giving people like a tease, essentially. So, maybe I want to see whose arm that is around that old woman. So, there you go. And now that's what the post will look like. This is once again with the autofocus WordPress theme. So, now that we've created a post, WordPress actually gives you a goal of trying to create as many posts as you want to, essentially. Let's create another post, though. So I'm going to click on New Post right there. And I'm not really sure what I want to put up, so maybe I'll get to the title later. I'll do that, actually. So let's go through my photos again, the ones that I have here. And let's choose another photo of mine that I've shot. I'm trying to see these. Oh, this was awesome. If any of you went down to the giant pillow fight at Union Square recently, there were just so many cool things that happened. It was a pretty awesome event, essentially. And this guy dressed up like a hot dog. And, well, you know what? I'm going to explain all of this in the actual blog post itself. So, once again, this is the only photo I want to feature. So I'm going to click on Use this feature image. And I'm going to insert it into the post. And right now you're going to see a couple lines right there because WordPress will do that. But this is the photo. And I have a couple different ways of doing this. I can either have that photo right there. I can click my mouse right there, and my pointer is actually right there, but you can't really see it, or it's very hard to. Press Enter, I can start talking about this post. This photo was shot at the New York City pillow fight in, this is May, right? Yeah, no, April. In April 2012, I was testing you there, that's all. In April 2012, this guy dressed up as a hot dog and was furiously being beaten down by other attendees with pillows. He then fell to the ground. I shot this photo without even looking through the viewfinder, and it was pure luck. So, you know what? I've actually kind of changed what I really want this post to be about. I have another photo from the pillow fight, and I want to feature that. So if I want to feature that right now, I'm going to skip another line just by pressing Enter, or if you're a Mac person like me, I'm going to press Return, which is also Enter. But yeah. So I'm going to add another photo. And I'm going to choose Select Files. And another photo that I have from the event is this one right here. And I want this to also be full size, but I do not want it to be the featured image. So it's not going to be the one that you see necessarily on the front page. Insert into the post. And now it's inserted, and now it's right there. This photo was also shot with pure luck. I love the expression on her face, though, as she is about to whack someone with a pillow in the face. It was pretty cool, actually. Okay, so now I'm done. Now, I could call this New York City again, Or maybe I might want to create a brand new category. Maybe I want to call this maybe candids or street portraits. Yeah, let's call these street portraits. Street portraits. Now, just to let you guys know, you can actually select more than one category if you would like. And it did not load up for some odd reason. Let me try that one more time. Street portraits. Add. There we go. You can actually select more than one category if you would like, but general practice is to only select one category. It's much easier for categorization, so to speak. So I'm going to call these street portraits. And tags. Tags are, once again, basically what this post is about. New York City. Pillow fight, portraits, what else? That's really the main gist of what this post is about. So now that I've added all those tags, and once I'm actually going to harp on this right now, all tags are separated with commas. So notice how I have pillow fight right there, even though pillow fight is 2 words. WordPress, Google, Bing, and all of those servers and search engines will recognize pillow fight as one tag. So now I'm going to click add, and now I'm all set. And I'm all set to publish. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I published 3 posts, and it's taking sweet time loading up. There we go. Now, basically what this theme is doing is it's taking that photo and making it kind of like the cover photo or featured photo or whatever you'd like to call it. And then it comes down essentially to this, which is the actual blog post itself. Let's go to Chris Gampat Street Photography and take a look at what that looks like right now. So she's cut off even more. He's cut off like that in a way. It's basically teasing us in a way, but you know, I'm not totally liking this theme, so I'm probably going to switch it out later, but let's create a couple more posts first. Let's say that you want to create a blog post, and let's say you don't want it necessarily to be published right now. Let's say that you're on a creative streak, and you're just sitting there at your computer one day, and you're like, hey, here's one blog post, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. What you could do is you could actually stagger and schedule those blog posts out to be maybe like once a day. Let's say one day on a Sunday, right after brunch, you have nothing really to do and you're sitting there in your desk, basically just like being creative on the web and hammering out blog posts. You can schedule one for Sunday, you can schedule one for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc., what have you. So let's try to schedule a post for later on. Let's select a photo first once again. And let's select, this one. Actually, no. Let's select this one right here. So it's going to upload it. Going to select it as the featured photo. Let's experiment with sizes now. Let's see what happens when I choose medium. So I'm going to insert into the post. And there you go. As you see, it's quite small. But let's roll with it and let's see what happens. Let's say a couple things about this photo. This photo was shot without even looking into the viewfinder or LCD screen. It was shot from the hip and was basically just me being creative with framing and playing around with the camera. I love the vast, wide scene that is present in the photo. Okay, let's give this a title. What did I title this? No, that was a metadata title. I'll call this wide scene on the street. Okay. This is not a street portrait, but it is New York City, and it was shot not too far away from here, so I'm going to click that category. And it tags wide scene, candid, street photography. David Brommer really hit home on that spelling earlier on. New York City. Add. There we go. Now, if I want to schedule this, as I said, and I don't want to publish it immediately, you have that option right up here. First off, what you could also do is maybe halfway through writing it, you get writer's block. So you could save it as a draft. And you could do that right here by clicking Save Draft. And now you see that the post draft has been updated. That means that it hasn't been published yet, and you can basically come back to it whenever you would like to. Now, once again, as I said, I want to publish this at another time. So I don't want to publish it immediately, as you see right there. So I'm going to click on Edit. And maybe I want to publish it tomorrow this is all in military time. So let's say around 9:39 a.m. Then I click OK. And then I can hit schedule. And now I'm all set. And now it gives me a confirmation. Post scheduled for April 20th, 2012 at 9:39. That essentially means AM because once again, this is all in military terms. So now let's go take a look at the blog and let's see the work that we've done. Went to another tab once again. Still not really liking this. I mean, it's all very, very bare. So let's try to play with the look a little bit. I'm going to go choose another theme right now. So in order for me to do that, I can go to the Appearance tab right here on the left-hand side. I'm going to choose Theme. And someone with the handout that I gave, on the bottom of it, you'll see that there are a couple of WordPress themes that I have recommended. Can someone actually just name a couple of them for me?
Anthem.
Anthem is one, okay.
Modularity.
Modularity is another.
Photography.
Photography is another.
And
Autofocus.
autofocus.
Let's look for the modularity one. So first off, I went to themes, and this is going to basically give me a whole bunch of different themes. Now, themes are either totally free or they're premium, which means that they basically allow you to do a lot more right out of the box. But you have to purchase them, and usually it's a one-time fee that you'll have to pay. It means that basically I can spend $45 for bold news, and I can use it as many times as I want to for free. But let's find that modularity one right here.
Would they still be charging you if you upgraded to Pro?
The question was, will they still be charging you if you upgrade to Pro? Yes, they will, for themes, absolutely. I'm not really liking that one, so let's take a look at what other themes they have for photographers. First off, what I could do to really narrow down the search is I could click on feature filters right here, and that unlocks a whole bunch of things, a whole bunch of variables and factors that I can incorporate in. Let's say I want my WordPress theme to be white. Let's say I want 2 columns. Let's say I want everything to be a fixed width. And I'm not even going to worry about any of the others right now. I do want featured images though. So I'm going to apply the filters. And it's going to, as you see, it's working right down here. And it's going to basically give me a bunch of different themes that it believes will be best for me based on what I said. And for the most part, I'm not really liking these ones right now. Photography is one. Wow, a couple days ago, photography was a totally free theme, and then it became all super popular, and they're like, okay, we're going to charge $68 for it. How nice, WordPress. I'm not really liking any of these themes right now. What are the names of those themes again, I said? I'm sorry? Anthem is another one. Okay, let's take a look at Anthem.
Can you make your own?
The question is, can you make your own? It can be very tough, and actually I recommend getting a coder for that. Anthem is not coming up for some odd reason. What is another one that I mentioned there?
Autofocus.
Autofocus, which is a current theme. All right, let's work with autofocus right now, actually. And what this one lets me do is it allows me to have a custom design, and it also allows me to have a header. So if I want to work with this theme right now, I'm going to once again bring that up right now. So this is what it currently looks like. And now I can actually play with its current appearance and mess with it a little bit. Let's go to the widgets menu on the left-hand side. And this may look totally confusing to you right now, but it basically is a whole bunch of different things that WordPress will allow you to add to your WordPress theme. So right now we have the primary sidebar, and this primary sidebar matches up with essentially, well, it would match up with this usually, but right now it is not. And actually some WordPress themes can be a little confusing like that, believe it or not. So let's try to see if we can mess with this theme a bit by going to custom design. And a lot of the WordPress themes they have for photographers really do have that custom design feature if you really like it. You can buy an upgrade for it to allow you to do custom CSS, and therefore you could actually customize the blog to look essentially any way you want to, but they're kind of limiting us right now because it's free. So let's try to see what they offer to us in terms of custom design. They offer us custom fonts. Let's see what they offer us. So let's say body text, and body text is basically this stuff right here. Let's choose something really wacky. Let's choose Vertigo preview script. And now that's what the custom body text is going to look like. Then there are headings, and let's make it look like that. And then there's the site title, which is that right there. I don't really like the look of that, so we're going to choose something else. Let's see how this looks. I really don't like that. So maybe Adele? Let's go with it. Why not? So there is no option for me to save this at all, save the work that I've done. So it's just going to automatically do that. That's cool. That's fine. So we're going to just keep it right there. Let's see what background allows us to do with this theme. And once again, depending on what theme you have, you will have other different submenus down there. This allows me to basically upload a specific background image if I want. Right now it's totally clear and white, and you know, if I really just want to show off my photos, I think I'm going to keep that. So I'm just going to keep it as a totally plain white background at the moment. Let's go to header then. Actually, let's go back. Maybe I want it to be a different color. Maybe I want it to be gray of some sort. So I'm gonna mess with this just a bit. And maybe it will actually work. So that's a cool gray. Let's see what that looks like. Let's save the changes. So it's saved, background updated, visit your site, see how it looks. Going back to that tab, and now I'm going to refresh. And as you see, it changed right before our eyes. It's a pretty nice look, but you know, I actually preferred white. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to set it to white. Now I'm going to save the changes. And it's all good. It's basically as if something never was changed. To show that to you, there you go. Now it's all back to white. Your header. Your header for this theme is basically this stuff right up here. So let's see what we can do with that. There is a preview which says Chris Gampat Street Photography, just another WordPress.com site. I don't really want it to be just another WordPress.com site, but we're going to get to that in a bit. But I can upload a specific image to take over that header. Let's see what will happen if I try to upload one of these images though. that I have right now, these images are not at the same pixel width that they're asking for. They're asking for 800 by 216 pixels. Let's see what happens if I upload this image right here that I shot at the Strand. Let's upload it. So it's giving me an option to crop it. Maybe I want it to be kind of like right there. Those of you that have Facebook profiles will probably be very, very familiar with this. It's synonymous to basically you selecting a photo as your profile photo and then wanting to crop in or out however you'd like. So now I want to crop and publish. That's going to be my header image. Let's take a look. Before we do that, hold on one second. We also have header text. There's show header text with your image. I can take that out, or I can just put it back in. At the moment, we're going to put it back in because it's not really doing anything much. So I'm going to save the changes. And we're going to take a look at how Chris Gampat street photography looks right now. And there we go. We have that new header image just the way we want, essentially, right now. But once again, we have just another WordPress.com site, and I don't really like that. I want to have some other little catchphrase or slogan. So if I want to mess with that a bit, a way for me to do that would be to go to the settings area. And when I hover over, I have a bunch of different subsettings that I have right here. And I believe it's actually in the general area, but sometimes they do move it around to reading. Right now it is right there. Now the settings area allows you to basically control a whole bunch of different variables and factors for your blog. So tagline, I don't want it to be just another WordPress site. I want it to be random snaps from the city of New York. Email address is fine, date format is fine, time format is fine. Week starts, let's say the week is going to start on Sunday. Save, and there you go. But you can also have basically a representation image of your blog. So if you have like some sort of logo of some sort, you can basically try to upload that if you'd like. I'm going to try to upload that photo, see what happens. It's going to let me crop the uploaded image. Let's crop it to just around there-ish. Ooh, I can make it bigger. It's pretty awesome. That's really about it. Right there. Crop the image. Now this is the photo that is now representing my blog. And to prove that, it should actually pop up right here where I have the WordPress area. And it has not yet. But where we do see it has popped up, it's basically taking over the profile image for Chris Gampat Street Photography right over there. That means whenever I go to comment on other people's blog posts, if I do want to log in with the same credentials that I'm using right now, that's the image that will pop up to represent me, essentially, kind of like a profile image. So let's see how we've been doing. I mean, the blog has basically been alive and active for maybe around an hour right now. So how do we do that? We can go to the dashboard, and we can go to site stats. So I'm going to go to site stats right now. And I have no traffic. No one really likes me. That's fine. I'm okay with that. This basically will give you, at a glance, a whole bunch of different summary tables and traffic tables. As you see right now, I have no traffic, but I assure you, as you go on, you will see things like 7 people or 250 people. On my website, I have like 50,000 or something like that. You also see referrers right here that basically tells you where traffic's coming from, like let's say Facebook or Google searches, or maybe a website linked over to a photo that you published. There's also top posts and pages, which are your most popular posts. There are posts that people are clicking on, or hyperlinks that you are putting in that people are clicking on. Search engine terms, the ones that are most often being typed into your search engine if you do allow one on your site. And then basically a breakdown of all your followers. So let's do something about this. I have no followers right now. Let's see what I can do. A big way to actually get followers is to basically try to integrate social media into your website and basically let people try to share your photos if they want to, or basically share your photos or share your posts. So I'm going to go to settings and I'm going to hover over and go to sharing. Now I basically have a bunch of different sharing settings right now. I can connect it to my Facebook. I can connect it to my Twitter. And basically this says connect your blog to popular social networking sites and automatically share new posts with your friends. When you connect this to your Facebook, it will actually go in and update your profile automatically with your brand new posts if you choose it to. Or if you have your own Facebook page, if I had my own Facebook page for Chris Gampat Street Photography, I could actually set it up to actually update that page if I wanted to. Same thing with Twitter. Highly doubt anyone uses Yahoo updates or Messenger. LinkedIn, if you want to, go right ahead. It's really up to you. But then you have sharing services, and I'll show you where those will go. Let's go to this blog post right now. Scroll down. Share this. You basically have a bunch of different ways that you can share the post if you'd like to. The ones that are enabled right now are press this, which honestly, this is only really good for the WordPress community. I don't really care about it, so I'm going to click on it and drag it out. And goodbye, press this. I care about Twitter. I care about Facebook. Do I care about Dig? Not really. People can go ahead and email my post to someone else if they want to. I don't mind. Maybe they want to print out my photos. You know what? I really don't mind in this case. You and your opinions might vary, but this is really just what I want at the moment. LinkedIn, I don't really care for LinkedIn. Reddit hates me. StumbleUpon, I like StumbleUpon, so I'll add that in. Tumblr, I like Tumblr. I really dig Tumblr, so I'm going to add that in. And Pinterest, I really like Pinterest as well. So now all of these are all enabled, and this is a live preview of what that's going to look like. Now I can actually rearrange these however I'd like to, and as you see, when I move Facebook there, it moves over there. Now if I move email all the way to the end right here, email is also going to move to the end over there. I can choose the type of button that I have as well too. These right here are called buttons. So I can choose the icon or the text. I can choose the icon only, and it becomes the shortened versions. Text only, that's kind of ugly. Or I can choose the official buttons, and these are like the like button, the tweet button, which is also a Twitter counter. Somehow or another, this already has 42 StumbleUpons. Tumblr, Pinterest, and email. I like that. I think that looks pretty. And I can choose where to display the buttons as well too. I don't want it on my front page, I don't want it in my archives, and I don't want it in my search results. I do want it in my posts, I do want it in my pages. Media, no. Media is basically meaning like, let's say someone goes into this post and they click on this image. It'll basically let you kind of like have sharing buttons at the bottom there. But right now for the theme it doesn't. So we're going to totally disregard that. And we're going to say...
Sorry, what did media do?
Media, basically, if you enable media, it will allow you to basically, when someone clicks on an image like this, it may allow you to have share buttons down there depending on the theme that you have right on moments.
Okay.
So now we're back here. Show a like button who has liked my post, all my blog posts above the comment section. The comment section, just an FYI, is right here. So yeah, why not? Okay, save this. Now hopefully, once I tell all my friends about my spiffy new blog, they will go ahead and start liking and tweeting and tumbling and pinning my posts, and it will get me more traffic. And this little guy over here will not be so lonely anymore, and maybe I'll see more than one visitor. So that's one way. But there are other ways, essentially. So those are enabled through the store in WordPress. So I'm going to hover over. I'm going to click on Store. And Store, basically, some of these will basically let you make your website look better, or they'll give you extra add-ons that you may not have necessarily right out of the box, like a domain name. As I said earlier on, it's going to be a pain for everyone to go in and type in Chris Gampat streetphotography.wordpress.com. It's going to be much easier for them to just go in and type in Chris Gampat streetphotography.com. So if I want to just make that domain name, I can just go ahead and I can buy it right there. And as you see right now, it's $12 essentially per the year. VideoPress. VideoPress basically allows you to upload your own videos, your own HD videos, to WordPress itself. I don't really recommend this if you have like a YouTube or a Vimeo, because those actually do a very good job of hosting videos as it is, and you can basically just embed them and share them however you like. There's also a custom design that you could add in. There are space upgrades. Remember earlier on I said WordPress may limit you to 2 gigabytes at the moment. They actually probably do limit you to 2 gigabytes, but you can upgrade your space requirements to 10 gigabytes if you want to, or whatever you like. Depends on how much you're going to blog. You can remove all ads. Site redirect is basically for someone forwarding visitors to another WordPress.com blog or external site if you're no longer blogging on WordPress.com. That's basically if it has to do with domain rerouting and a whole bunch of different things, but we're not really going to worry about those at the moment. The ones that I really would recommend are the space upgrades, maybe no ads, custom design, and adding a domain name. Or you can see what they recommend at the upgrade to pro setting right up here. So let's take a look at my site again. There's an about page. This is not really what I want at the moment. So let's go in and let's edit that page. And in order to do that, I can go right here to Pages, and I can click on All Pages. And now that's an old post that was already created right now. I want to go in and I want to edit that. So I'm going to click Edit. Now this is something that a lot of people that are just new to blogging actually encounter. Many people actually go right ahead in and they create their blog post in something like a Word document, and then they try to paste their blog post right into WordPress. The problem with that is that there's a whole bunch of HTML and coding problems that happen when you do that, so it kind of does look ugly at times. There's a special way to do that if you want to take that route, and I'm going to show you it right now. First off, I'm going to take everything that WordPress gave me, and I'm going to say goodbye. Now what I did earlier on is I took the liberty of taking a profile that I have on another website of mine, putting it into Word like this. So now it's in Word. I'm going to highlight all this, I'm going to copy it, and now I want to paste it into here. Once again, if I want to paste it into here, it's going to give me a lot of coding problems. So remember earlier on I unlocked the kitchen sink right up here? I have a special function over here. This one's paste as plain text if you'd like it, but this one allows me to paste from Word, and it basically gets rid of all of those problems that I may have. So I'm going to go click on Paste on Word. I'm going to paste everything in there, insert it, and now it looks all good.
Oh, very good.
I don't really care about having a featured image because this is just an About Me page. I'm actually going to change that to About Chris, once I spell my name right.
How did you access that paste from Word?
The question was, how did I access paste from Word? And once again, you just have to basically press that little button right there.
After being in the Pages mode?
Yes, but you can do it in Pages or a blog post.
Okay.
Now I click Update. Sure. And it's going to update. Yeah, and it's updated. So let's take a look at what this looks like right now. Anybody see any coding errors? Let's show you what it looks like if I didn't do that. And watch it work totally perfectly. It sometimes does that on me. Watch it work. You know what, let's really mess with it. Let's put in ats. The reason why I put in the word at instead, and actually this is some great this is a great little tip for you guys. If you actually put in the @, it's much easier for spammers from China and wherever else in the world they are usually from, let's say Alaska. It's much easier for them to just go into your website, read the text right there, find your email address, recognize that that is an email address, and then basically spam you with ads for Viagra or whatever else they want to spam you with. Maybe tickets to the Rangers or the Mets, whatever. So let's put this in. Once again, I did not use the paste from Word functionality. I'm updating. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll work. Let's see if it won't. Let's see if it will or not. Amazingly, it worked this time. But I guarantee you there are going to be times where you're going to just like write and write and write and write and write, and you may do something complicated like, let's say tables or something like that, and it's going to sit there and WordPress is going to be like, what is this? What am I supposed to do with it? And it's basically just going to look all discombobulated on the screen.
Does it work with pages from Apple?
I'll get to that question at the end, Miss. So that's a page. And also, if you noticed, this little area right here, this was what I had earlier on, actually, in the appearance area, the widgets. With this theme, apparently, it only comes up on the pages itself, which is really nice in a way because if I want people to come right here to the website anyway, I'll basically just want them to focus on the content to begin with. So I have a search bar. That's cool. Let's go there and let's take a look at what it looks like right now. Okay, you can kind of tell that's a search bar. You have your recent posts, old street photography that I love. You have your archives. You have specific categories. You have meta, which means like I can sign in, I can log out, you can check out the entries. But you know, I don't necessarily want that to be there. So I'm going to go back to the widgets area. And once again, this sidebar is also synonymous to this sidebar over here. I'm going to get rid of it. And I'm going to put it down here in the inactive widgets area because that means that it will basically take all edits that I've done to that widget and it will basically just keep them the way that it is, but it's just not going to display it on the page at the moment. So that's cool. What else could I add though? Authors is good if you have like actual staff on your website. I have your pages, like your site's WordPress pages. That's already kind of done in my header, as you'll see right up here. So I mean, I don't really need to do that. It's gonna be too much. RSS links. Maybe someone wants to subscribe to my website via RSS. So there you go, right there. Subscribe to my site via RSS. And posts. There you go. Save that. That's all set. And now, just to show you guys that that's actually going to be there, I'm going to refresh. Notice how meta's gone, and notice how subscribe to my site is now there. So, the other thing, and the last thing that I want to do is, remember earlier on, I told you guys that WordPress creates a default blog post for you called Hello World. I want to get rid of that because it looks kind of amateurish at the moment. And we're at the point right now where we've created quite a bit of posts. So I actually am going to get rid of that. In order to do that, I'm going to hover over in the post area, and I'm going to click on trash. And it's trashed. And actually, I noticed that I made a mistake earlier on. This post, I can tell, was the pillow fight one because of the fact that I have the tags pillow fights right here. I didn't give it a title. So if I want to give it a title, I could actually go back into the post, save it, and work on it there. But WordPress is really convenient, and they give you a quick edit option. So I'm going to quick edit, and this basically allows you to do very, very minor edits to your post. Let's call this a day with, you know what, because I'm a stickler for formatting and I've been editing for years, I'm going to capitalize day. where pillows flew around. So now is my title. It is still published. Tags are good. Categories are good. Update. And we're all set. So now I'm out. And I'm going to guarantee you that I still have no friends checking out my site. And I'd be right. And for the most part, that's really about it. One more thing that I am going to show you guys very quickly, though, is comment moderation, which will be very, very important to many of you. And the way that you set that up is settings, right over here, and you hover over discussion, you go right in. Now, it basically gives you a whole bunch of different options that you can do. It can attempt any notify any blogs that you've linked to from an article. That's fine. Allow link notifications from other blogs. That's fine. Other comment settings. Comment author must fill out name and email. I'm going to allow that for the moment. Users must be registered and logged in to comment. Yes, I want that, because other than that, that means that people will not have to register, and that means anyone, their mother and their mother's spam software that they created can go ahead and just easily spam my blog like crazy. I don't want to do that. And for the most part, that's really all that you're going to need to know about, or that most people really need to know about. So now that I'm done with all that, I'm going to save the changes. And one last thing that I will tell you about very, very quickly, and then I'm going to open the floor for questions, is as commit. As commit is something that I explain on the handout that I gave you guys. Basically what it does is it detects spam comments and it gets rid of them, which is really, really nice. Or it will say, hey, this comment came in, I'm not sure if this is a spam comment or not, so I'm going to hold it for moderation. And if you want to moderate a comment, you just go to the comments area right here on the left. And you will usually have comments right there to moderate. But unfortunately, once again, it is not giving me any comments right there to moderate. So that's really about it. Let's see if there's anything else that I've had. Nope, that's really about it. That's really all most people essentially need to create their own WordPress blog. So now I'm actually going to open this up to questions if you'd like. Naomi, go right ahead.
Can you switch from theme to theme and preserve all your work that you've done?
Her question was, can you switch from theme to theme and lose all the work that you've done? That's absolutely impossible. The only thing that the theme changes is basically the way that your website will look. You may just have to make a couple of changes in the appearance area, which is right over here, to basically try to make the new theme to however you would want it to be. But no, you're never going to lose your work. And actually, that's a very, very good question. If you want to save your work, and meaning like all of your blog posts, let's say your blog goes down and you have to go ahead and you have to restart your blog again from scratch, but you want all those posts, a really good idea is to export all of the posts in what's called XML data. So in order to do that, I'm going to hover over Tools right here and see the options that come up. There's Available Tools, Import, and there's Export. Import is good if you're moving from like Blogspot or Tumblr into WordPress. Other than that, there's Export right here. And you can choose to export all of your content, your posts, your pages, or your feedbacks. So let's say I want to export all of my content, download export file, and it will save it right now to my desktop. And since it's a very, very small website at the moment, it was a very quick download. My personal website, The Full Blogger, it's been around for nearly 2 years, and it's over 20 gigs large. So you won't ever lose your content, essentially, from switching from theme to theme. Yes, sir?
Can you use the formatting from Lightroom, for example, and import it into this?
His question was, can you use the formatting from Lightroom, for example, and import it into this? I haven't really tried that with WordPress.com. I know that you can do it with WordPress.org, but that's via FTP servers. There might be a plugin, though, for you. It's really not something I really play with, and actually, I really don't even recommend it because of the fact that if there is some sort of interface in there, it won't necessarily give you an entire area to match up with your categories. So it may just put it into an uncategorized area. It also won't necessarily give you the necessary tags that you may need. In addition to that, there's also the title, and there's also the way that you may want to format everything to look on the page. So I really, really would not recommend playing around with a third-party app to begin with. Yes, miss?
I haven't had any luck yet understanding how to get the pictures side by side. I keep having to do everything in a column. Is it the theme I'm in?
Her question was she's trying to understand how to basically get her photos side by side. At the moment, they're all just coming down straight in a straight column. She wants to know if it's the theme that she's in. You're talking about essentially literally like on the page like so, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so the way that you would do that is, let's go into that blog post right now. So I'm going to go to all posts. And actually, this is very good that you asked that. I'm going to go edit that post right now. And if I wanted to do that, what I could do is basically I can, and when I click on this photo, I get this little edit image finger right there. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm actually going to choose to align this photo to the left. I'm going to click update. But in addition to that, because I know this photo is huge and it's basically taking up that entire center column, if I try to put another image to the right, it's going to look terrible. Excuse me. So I'm going to actually make this smaller as well too. In order for me to do that very quickly, is I could just take this little arrow thing right there and I can basically decrease the size like that, and it will tell me the pixel dimensions right there. So I've done that now, and now I have the text on the right-hand side, but I want an image on the right-hand side. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to actually upload another image right now. I might as well. Or actually, you know what? I'll do something very smart. I'm going to take an image that I've uploaded already to the website from the media library. And that's not as smart as I thought it would be because there are no vertical images. So I'm going to actually take something from my computer. And this is a vertical image, so no, let's take the girl with the aviators. I'm going to upload that. And I'm going to go with the medium size because basically that's how it will look best. And I'm going to insert it into the post. And now you see the image is to the right. Now let's play with formatting a bit. Let's go right down. Let's click on update. Now this is going to do what I think it's going to do. I'm actually going to have to go back in and I'm going to have to edit a bit. So now I'm going to refresh this page. And actually, no, it did it perfectly fine. What I actually thought it was going to do was it was going to basically come up looking like this. But as you see, it comes up looking like this with the text perfectly down at the bottom. Essentially what you have to do is you have to align one image to the left, maybe align another image to the right, or not take an alignment at all, and just kind of stack the images in there, and that's how you basically get the images to look the way that they do right now.
Thanks.
Yes, sir?
When you initially upload your images, you pick the size to display, but then when you click on the images, it took you to the image just on a blank page. Is that leaving your uploaded image available for download at whatever that size was that you uploaded it?
His question was, when I have the images right there, it's pretty much totally fine, but basically when I click the image again, it basically took me to a page that basically makes the image take over the entire thing. He wants to know if this makes the image available for download. That's your answer right there. Yes, it does. There is a way, well...
Or you could just downsize before you load.
You could downsize. I'm sorry, go right ahead.
You could just downsize the image and upload like 800 pixels at the widest side.
Yeah, you
or
can
upload, right?
you can go right ahead and do that. But yes, the answer to your question is yes, it does make it available for download if someone does want to.
Right.
Yes, Naomi.
When you download, when you upload pictures from your desktop, when you go in and you choose the side, there's also a button, and it has a link, and if you press none,
Hold on 1 second. So you're saying that if I go in,
To the picture.
I think I remember what you're talking about. Hold on. And then I,
Do you see there's a none button under the link URL? No, further down. And that will get rid of the link, and now you can click on it.
yeah, she's right. So that will actually get rid of the link, but that means that the image will only stay that size and someone won't be able to actually see it larger if they want to. So, I mean, you basically have a trade-off there. Do you want people to see your images larger, or do you not want them to see them larger? It really depends on each specific post that you create. Yes, miss?
Okay, I hear people talk about WordPress for designing their websites. So is that?
I'm sorry, what?
Using WordPress for designing their websites.
Okay.
So I'm curious, is it the same thing as this that we're working with, that we're creating blogs with, that they're using for websites?
She wanted to know, well, actually, she's heard, first off, that people have basically used WordPress to create their entire website if they would like to. She wants to know if this is basically the same thing. Essentially, yes. But it really depends, once again, on what type of website you want to create. Let's say you just want to bring people to, let's say, your immediate portfolio that's broken down into an area. Imagine this with me, if you guys will. An entire page with kind of what it's known as anchor links. So let's say this one's going to be street photography, this one's going to be wedding photography, this one's going to be portraits. And when I click on wedding photography, I'm going to go all the way down to a section on that page where it basically is displaying all of my wedding photography images. And then the portraits is going to bring me down to another area displaying all of my portraits. If you want a page like that, essentially, to be your home page, you're going to have to do that through domain mapping, and you're going to have to try to work that out through basically kind of GoDaddy or whoever you're buying your domain through. But it is absolutely possible. Yes, sir?
On a similar note, when using an outside source, third party, to host your images, say like a Zenfolio or SmugMug, etc., or 500 pics, could you then hotlink your images to WordPress rather than having to upgrade WordPress to get 20 gigabytes, 50 gigabytes, etc.?
His question was, let's say you're using a third-party service like 500px or Flickr to host your images. Could you then use those services to kind of bring your images into WordPress and not use up the space that WordPress gives you? You absolutely can, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I had a feeling that someone would actually ask that question, so I have my 500px up and ready. And I'm going to take this photo right here, starting young. And we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to create a new post. Yeah, why not leave the page? I'm not going to update this. So I'm going back to starting young. And in 500px, I'll show you guys this with Flickr in a second because it looked like a lot of you were Flickr users. Right here, in 500px, you have the embed code if you'd like. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to copy the embed code. Now this is where it gets a little bit nerving, or will make a lot of you guys nervous. Instead of the visual interface, you're going to have to switch over to the HTML interface, which is right over here. So click on that, and then right there, you have your photo. You basically had to paste it right in there, and then you were all set. And then for the moment, I'm actually going to publish this. But also, something that I didn't do was show you the other interface that WordPress has, and actually that may actually make this a lot easier. So here's the other interface that WordPress has. If you want to create a brand new post, see a new post right up there? This is the more Tumblr-like interface. Much more clean cut, as all of you guys see. So let's say I want to post a photo. That name of the photo was starting young, right? Actually, no. Let's choose another one. Let's go to Flickr. Let's choose Dan and Kim's engagement. Let's call it Dan and Kim's engagement. because I'm lazy like that. Dan Kim's engagement. Since this is hosted somewhere else, I'm going to have to use a photo URL. So if I want to share this photo, I can grab the link. I can copy that right there. Go back into WordPress. Use a photo URL. Hopefully it'll work. Sometimes it doesn't work. An engagement session out in Long Beach, Long Island, actually New York. I'm gonna add tags. I'm gonna say engagement, wedding, Long Island, New York, Long Beach, and let's see what'll happen if I publish the photo right now. Come on, go ahead, publish.
What's fetch photo up there on the list?
Fetch photo. Let's see what happens now. It didn't seem like it pulled the photo right now, but also this new interface is actually very, very buggy and doesn't seem to be working. So let's try another way. Let's try it through this Kim and Dan's engagement. WordPress really needs to work on this if they really want it to take off. There's no HTML session there, so what I can do, that's not going to allow me to. Really the best way is essentially what I showed you guys before, going through here. And now it's not letting me go there. So if I want to get back to the dashboard, wait, no, my blog is actually the best way to get back to the dashboard. Sorry, dashboard link was right there. The older interface, which is what I've been teaching you guys for the most part, is really the best way to do it, using the HTML embed. As I've shown you, the newer version is actually quite buggy, unfortunately.
Do you have a visit?
I do.
It's on the right, it's stats, bottom right. Does that say one?
I'm popular. Check that out. Yes, miss.
I'm curious about Tumblr. What can you say about Tumblr versus WordPress?
Her question is, she's curious about Tumblr. What can I say about Tumblr versus WordPress? There's quite a bit to say about that. I'd really ask that you see me afterwards. Yes, sir.
How can you switch to a domain name that you already purchased through GoDaddy?
His question was, how can you switch to a domain name that you already purchased through GoDaddy? And honestly, I think you need to talk to GoDaddy about that, but let's take a look at the store. There's also domains area. Hold on, wait. You could add the domain right here. Let's see that right now. Let's see if this is my own website right there. So I want to add this. It'll probably tell me something like that domain name already exists. I own this domain, help me fix it. You basically have to go through all of these settings and maybe ask GoDaddy to try to help you. And then this way it will reroute and change all the name servers to try to basically make your WordPress site take over the domain name that you already own. It can be quite tedious, and trust me, it's when I've had to do that like 3 times, it's actually made me want to rip my hair out. But once it's done, and it really works well. Yes, miss.
Can you create tables?
Her question was, can you create tables? You mean like in a blog post? Can you create tables? You actually can, but most people do not do that. So there is a way. Or there used to be a way. There used to be a table option that was actually down here. It is still in my version, at least, of WordPress.org, which is the other software. It's not in WordPress.com anymore because apparently they realized that people don't use it. You can't create tables at the moment. The best thing I'd really actually recommend for you to do is maybe actually import it into Excel or try to use Google Docs and then try to copy and paste all of that. And then instead, you remember the copy from Word or paste from Word functionality that I showed you earlier on? To the left of that is a paste from places plain text option. I'd actually recommend that you use that for tables instead. Sure. Yes, miss.
Can you choose when to do a page break?
I beg your pardon? I'm sorry.
Can you choose when to do a page break? So you just, for some reason, only wanted two.
It's a very good question. Can you choose where to put a page break? Most people don't do that, but you seem more advanced than everyone else, so.
I've just been bugged by photographers that have really, really big photos, I guess, and just endlessly loading of photos.
You're absolutely right. I'm actually going to add on to that in a bit. So we're going to go to a day where pillows flew around. Now there is a way to actually cut that off at a certain point. The way to do that is basically go to the end of your first paragraph, which I always recommend, hit enter, and then you have a little something here on right above the kitchen sink called insert more tag. If you hit that, it'll basically give you a page break. And that means people are going to have to say read more and then go in, and there you go. You'll have that page break essentially there. So I'm going to update that. But in addition to that, that's called the insert more button. Insert more tag. In addition to that though, if you also want to make sure that your website is also moving very fast, a good idea is to ensure that there's only maybe like 5 or 7 pages or 7 posts on the front page, and that if anybody wants to take a look at your older posts, they just have to go back in the history. So in order to do that, you're going to go to the settings and you're going to go to, it used to be in reading, it should still be in reading right now. So we're going to go to reading. And front page displays your latest posts. Blog pages to show at most. Let's say, you know, being a website owner for a while, I actually only keep 5 or 6 posts at the same time because of the fact that it balances out content quality with amount of time it takes to load essentially items on my website. So that's how you do it. So let's say a blog page show at most, let's say 6. And then you would just click save. And then if you had more than 6 posts, let's say you had 10, if someone wanted to go back and see like maybe your very first post, they'd have to go click on something at the bottom that say something like show older posts or page 3 or 1 or anything else. It really depends on your theme. But that's how you would do it. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Are you available for a fee to do consulting and like setting up of a blog?
Let's talk about that later.
Okay.
Yeah?
I like to ask about the scheduling posts.
I'm sorry, miss. I really can't hear you.
I like to ask about the scheduling posts.
Okay.
Can I go back in time? Like I have find a picture from 2010. I had no time to log. I like to pull it up. Can I pull it up back in time?
Can you put it back in time?
Post, not schedule.
Her question was, she wanted to ask about scheduling posts. First off, scheduling posts is really just for the future.
Yes.
You want to know essentially if, let's say you want to create a brand new post, can you set it to say something like, I created this post back in 2010?
No, like it would put the post back to 2010, you know, the
Archive.
Similar to Facebook's timeline that
oh,
allows.
yes. For example.
Can
I don't
she
want to put
insert it
it
into the
today.
timeline of what her blog is showing?
She wants a post date to show a year ago. The date of the post itself.
Thank you, everyone.
So it's the photo that's being.
As opposed to just
taken.
saying, I took this a year ago, and it's dated today.
She wants it to show a year ago?
Yeah.
I don't really think there is an option to do that. I haven't
Maybe
seen one.
A preset that might be able to be attached to the photo and show that instead of the actual date.
Maybe just actually putting like a date stamp at the bottom of the photo. No, there is no other way, unfortunately. Yeah, archives won't do it. There unfortunately is not. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe if you had like a third-party service hosting that image, maybe you might be able to have something in the embed code saying like this was taken maybe like January of 2010 or something like that. But other than that, no, unfortunately.
You don't have a calendar to pick a date.
Pardon?
You don't have a calendar to pick a date.
There,
What they say there.
there is none, no. Can you repeat what you said one more time? Sorry.
You don't have a calendar to pick a date. And
She wants to know if I have a calendar of some sort to pick a date. Actually, yes, there could be. You can do that in the appearance area in the widgets. Now, the widgets are on the right-hand side, if you remember. And you can insert a calendar right here. But really all that will do is show your post calendar, like when you've actually published. That's really the closest thing that would do it. It really wouldn't do it for your specific images. Sorry about that.
just a question. If I've already taken the trouble to embed metadata into the image,
Could you speak a little louder? I'm sorry.
if I've already taken the trouble to embed metadata within the images that I'm uploading through Lightroom or something like that, can't it just automatically take those tags from the image instead of me having to type those tags out again?
Her question was if she, and she's taken my metadata class, if she goes through the trouble of editing her photos and then going in and putting in the metadata for all of those specific photos, like basically what I was putting in the tags, what's the point of going in and adding all of those tags again? Those tags are the metadata for the blog post. They're not the metadata for your photos. I'm sorry, miss. So, I mean, even though those photos will have that specific metadata in there, that metadata that you put into Lightroom only pertains to those photos. It does not pertain to the blog post.
So it won't be even if it's in there, it won't be searchable. Metadata on the photo in the blog.
Her question was, even though that metadata is in the photo, will it not be searchable? And believe it or not, the answer is, I'm glad that you asked this, it absolutely will be searchable. So if you, for example, were shooting a wedding, and let's say it was Abe and Julia, and you added Abe and Julia into the metadata of that photo, but you didn't put that metadata in the blog post itself, Google and Bing will still read that metadata from the image, and it'll pull up.
So then there's no need to really add tags if I wanted to run that.
She wants to know if there is still then a really need to add the tag. I would say you should add the tag because of the fact that you're basically making the post totally foolproof in a way, because you're basically doing the metadata for the image, then you're doing the metadata for the blog post. Google and Bing are going to give more weight to the blog post itself versus your image, no matter what. Yes, sir?
And is it true the more times you repeat, if New York City in the metadata of the image, New York City in the blog post, and New York, and you write actually in your blog post New York City plus tag New York City for the blog tag, you're more likely to come up higher in the Google search?
His question, and I'm very glad that you asked this, is if you actually keep repeating certain tags, like let's say New York City, over and over again, will you come up higher in the Google search rankings for those specific items? So when I was a wedding photographer, and how many of you are wedding photographers? A couple of you. How many of you use Google AdSense and AdWords in order to basically compete with everyone else on that first page of findings for New York City wedding photographer? None of you. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little secret about Google. Basically, if someone goes in and they type in New York City wedding photographer, everything that you will see on the first front page has been paid for. There are photographers out there sitting there cutting each other's throats, trying to make money, and basically paying a certain sum of money to Google each day to ensure that they come up there. Now, what I did a couple years ago when I was a wedding photographer was I actually constantly post postings with New York City wedding photographer as one of the tags. And because of that, I was actually able to outdo all of those guys and studios without paying a cent. And then Google screwed me over. And yeah. So yes, you can. Absolutely. Pardon?
How did they screw you?
Google essentially was just like, oh, this guy is paying $200 a day to be on the top. We can't let a free guy do that. So there you go. And in addition to that, Google also changes their algorithms in terms of what they give more weight to in terms of search terms every day. I'm sorry. So that was essentially it. I mean, if you were to take $200 versus someone with just a lot of knowledge, I think we'd all take the $200 instead.
I think
Yes. Hold on.
Just out of curiosity, when you say you're constantly putting New York City wedding photographer once a day, 10 times a day, what was that?
He wanted to know my frequency of constantly putting in a New York City wedding photographer. I would say maybe like 3 times a day because I had that much content to put out. Once again, that really depends on how much content that you have to put out. In addition to that, besides just my content, I put it on my About Me page. I created a portfolio page. I put it into the titles. No, I didn't put it into the titles. I put it into the tags. That's really about it. And I basically had a lot of sharing settings and a lot of people linking in. And I was also very early with Facebook and Twitter adaptation as well too. So that helped out as well. Someone over here had a question. Yes, sir?
About putting it into the titles, because that's what I do. It seems to work a lot.
You absolutely could put it into the titles, but I don't think for blog content, I don't think that it's a very, very good practice for you to constantly put New York City wedding photographer, this wedding, New York City wedding photographer, that wedding, or something like that. What you could do is you could actually hack your URL, and this is how I do it. So we're going to go to the posts, and I'm going to go to this one right here. Now what you can do right now is, this is your permalink, which is basically the URL of what your blog post is going to be. I'm going to edit this to be New City York pillow fight photographer. I'm going to basically put in a little bit of tags, portraits, Chris Gampat. Now, you basically want to be very conservative about just how much you hack it. You don't want to really go overboard all the time. Really just trust your gut on that one. So now if I click update, the entire URL will actually change. So at the moment right now, we actually still have that post open right over here. See what the URL is? Now if I press refresh, see how it changed? That's a little bit of a hack. In addition to that, you can also set what your URLs will be. It's somewhere over here. I forget exactly where it is. Believe that it is in general. Or it could be reading. No, it's not. Domains. No, general. There's basically a little option that will basically let you set up how your URLs will come in. Could be privacy. No, sharing. Did they take it out of WordPress.com? I know it's in WordPress.org. If it is still here, it will be in the settings area, but at the moment I can't actually find it at the moment. Yes, sir?
Earlier you mentioned you talk about copying and pasting from pages as opposed to Word.
No.
Yes.
I talked about copying and pasting from Word
Right, and if
to a
somebody
blog
asked-
post or pages.
Right, so somebody asked about doing it from pages, and you said you talk about it later.
Oh, from Apple iPages, yes. Someone did ask about copying from Apple iPages. That, the question was earlier on, can you copy from something like an Apple iPage and then put it into a blog post? You basically use either the paste from Word or the paste as plain text functionality that I demoed earlier on. I'm not too familiar with Apple iPages because I don't really use them, but to be on the safe side, I would actually use the paste as plain text functionality. But usually when you do paste as plain text, you do have to kind of rework it a bit in terms of line breaks. So it won't necessarily see that you may have like a paragraph, this is a paragraph, this is a paragraph, this is a paragraph, it'll actually just see the sentence spaces, and that's really about it. Yes, sir?
Different kinds of pages question. Pages pertaining to WordPress and creating different pages for different things.
Mm-hmm.
Can you now, I've done events, and on occasion I've done a wedding or two. Can you create a proofing page for clients and password protect a page so that only that client has access to it?
His question was, can you create a proofing page for clients? Let's say if you have like a wedding or something like that, where they will only have access to that themselves. Yes, you absolutely can. You can do that by actually making pages password protected. Let me go through and show you that very quickly. So you would click on something like Add New, and then you would actually make it password protected right there. And then you would basically give them the password. You would give them the URL, and you would give them the password, and that's really the only way that they'd be able to get in. And then if you basically don't want them to go in and download all the photos and rip you off, you can essentially just put them in only as small thumbnails and take out the link.
Sorry. And the other question pertaining to that is, are there third-party plugins or plugins in general that would allow you to utilize that page in a way where when you're proofing, you can have your client interact with that page and check off, you know, sort of like...
His question was, are there third-party plugins of some sort that will allow your client to basically have some ease of use so they can go in and they can check off what images they want or what they don't want? And the answer to that is not in WordPress.com. You're going to need WordPress.org. There are no plugins at all in WordPress.org. WordPress.com is once again very basic. WordPress.org is quite a bit more powerful. So if you want to do something like that, WordPress.org would probably be the better option for you.
So then can you essentially do the same things with the .org site, but just have that, you know, enhanced? And do you have to pay for .org in general?
He wants to know if you can do the same things with .org that you can with .com. Yes.
I would assume, yeah.
Do you have to pay for that in general? You do have to pay for hosting server space in addition to your domain name. Your domain name is a one-time fee. Server space and hosting space, you'd have to pay to like, I mean, WordPress.org does have a couple of recommended hosts like Bluehost, GoDaddy is another one. So you would have to pay them monthly hosting fees. WordPress.com, you only have to pay for a domain name and that's it. They all host everything on their own servers essentially, and they are pretty good. Hold on, one question. There's other questions.
If you start with WordPress.com and you should decide for whatever reason you want to upgrade to .org, is that easily doable down the road?
His question, and brings back very painful memories, was, can you start out in WordPress.com and then upgrade and move on later on to WordPress.org? You absolutely can. Remember where I showed you guys to export all of your content? You can do that. Start a WordPress.org site, move your domain name over, argue with whoever the tech monkeys are behind the hosting server people, whoever you're dealing with, and then try to upload all of those files. And that's really about it. But in addition to that too, remember we were talking about the domain names earlier on and changing all the name servers and everything else? You're gonna have to do that both in WordPress and on their own custom interface. And it can be quite painful to do. I've had to do it 3 times. I actually have had a server, I was on WordPress.com with the Photographer, then we went to Bluehost, and then we got so big that Bluehost actually said, hey, we can't hold you anymore. And they wouldn't even help me move from Bluehost to where I am right now with Rackspace. And that was, first off, that was in the middle of PMA, and that was not the time that I really wanted it to happen. And that took a good 2 days between me and my staff working on it. So it can be quite a painful process. Just brace yourself before you're going to do it. It's doable, absolutely. Yes?
You mentioned before that you had set up a phone bill.
Yeah. She said, I mentioned before, I did set up a portfolio page. Go ahead.
How would you do that if it would look different than just blog?
The way that I set up a portfolio page, and I don't have it anymore, was basically I created a page and I just pasted in image right next to image, right next to image, right next to image, right next to image, below or above image, and then skipped a line, and I said, and I gave it another subsection. So once again, as I said earlier on, I used to shoot weddings, I used to shoot events. So I had like up top, I had anchor links, which is basically something that you have to do through HTML and coding. It's very easily found on Google. So that when someone clicked on like weddings, they went down to the wedding section of the portfolio page and they saw 1 image, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 being giant, 7, 8, 9, and then at the bottom of the wedding area it said back to top, and then it went all the way back to the top where they could then easily peruse the other sections that they may want to go to, like say street photography or product photography. Then they just click those and they go to that certain section. That's really what I did as a portfolio page. Other than that, I mean, it can be up to you to create individualized pages. I'm not sure what type of photography you shoot. What do you shoot?
Lots of events and stuff like that. That's what I need help.
Okay, so she shoots a lot of events. Let's say you can actually go right ahead and you can create like a page for, let's say 40th birthday parties. And then you can display all the images that you want right there. And then on that page, if you want to, you can actually link over to your other pages if you want. Like let's say you have a wedding page, and then you have like an engagement page, and then you have like bar mitzvah page. Whatever you'd like. That's really the best way to do it. Multiple pages or one page with a bunch of different anchor links. That's really the best way. Are you raising your hand, or are you just
scratching my head?
That's not allowed here.
Is there a simple way to like replace a photo in there? Like say you didn't like the pillow guy and you wanted to put another person in there. Can you like replace it? Is there an option, or do you just delete it, add a photo?
Her question was, is there a simple way for me to replace a photo there? She obviously doesn't like the guy dressed up as a hot dog. So not enough mustard on him. He just needed a lot more. So what I could do, see that little red dot thingy right there? I could click on delete image and it goes away after a while. And then what I could do is could insert another image. I'm gonna upload a brand new one actually. Actually, no, you know what? I'm gonna use an image that I uploaded before, just to spite you. So I'm going to use this one right here. And I'm gonna set that to medium sized. And I'm gonna make it align left because I want it to be the left side of this one. Then I insert it. Bam, there you go. That's how you would insert an image, change an image out.
Say you had like 10 pictures and you loved your layout and you just wanted to, you didn't want to see that kind of ancient a little bit. I mean, it didn't go into that space that you had.
I beg your pardon. Oh, she wanted to know basically if like, how can I say this?
Maybe there's just not an option for it. Maybe in WordPress.org.
There is not an option for either WordPress.org or WordPress.com. What she's basically saying is, you know, I had to go in, I had to delete that image, and now there's kind of all that space. There's really nothing that you can do about that. But once again, also too, if I change that to, let's say, another vertical photo, like that other one that I uploaded, that doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so I'll upload it again. Let's make this smaller. Yeah, okay. So that's left. Aligned left, rather. There you go. So, I mean, in a way, it also depends on just how large the photos are themselves. Hold on one second. You actually can resize them right from there.
But you can't drag them down a little bit.
Just like that. But right now it's pixelated because it was smaller earlier on. I'm sorry, there was a question that was kind of like screamed out, and I don't even know where it came from.
Can you align
Well,
those
you-
photographs?
There's like a giant brain trust right here of questions. Go right ahead.
Align them.
Can I align these photographs? I understand where you're coming from. Can you align these photographs? You can, but I mean, really, the best way to do that would be to go into the HTML and actually go in and mess with it. Other than that, no, not really. Hold on, wait 1 second. This was updated, but let's see what'll happen. WordPress's servers can actually be slow sometimes.
Is there a command?
Hold on 1 second, miss. So we're going to refresh this page. That's the best alignment that you're really going to get.
But you referred to the HTML. Are you saying there's a command within the HTML that aligns it?
She said, as I was referring to the HTML, she wants to know if there was a command in there that I am referring to. No, I am not. You basically probably just have to go in there and just play with it essentially as it is. Maybe insert page breaks, line breaks, and try to basically make it the best you possibly can. I wish that there was a better way, and I wish the web was more beautiful like that, but unfortunately it is not. Yes, miss?
Hi, you were saying earlier that you had used the photography theme before they started charging for it. Does that theme have more capabilities to apply images, maybe display thumbnails or?
She said that, and yes, this is true, I did use the photography theme for a little bit, and then WordPress was like, okay, we're going to go ahead and charge for it. She wanted to know if there was basically more capability in there. Not really. There really wasn't, unfortunately. I really wish there was, but no, there was not. Yes, sir.
So I saw when you click on the photo, you can resize it, but it looked like also you can't drag a photo at all in that.
He wants to know if I can drag a photo from one area to another.
Because when you drag, it looked like it wanted to move down or up a little bit.
You can absolutely drag and move a photo if you would like to.
So we don't think that they'll align. You can't move it back to where it was and just try and nudge down the other photo instead.
Hold on 1 second. He wants to know if I can basically drag that photo back to where it was and nudge the rest down. And right now I'm changing to the full screen format so you might be able to see it better. That's kind of aligned, right?
Yeah. But you can move the text.
Yeah, let's get rid of the text. Because you guys are a tough crowd.
We want answers.
Let's move that down for a bit. And now move up. I'm gonna blame her giant aviator glasses for not allowing me to. Hold on, wait. Was that Darth Vader? That was the strangest sound I've ever heard in the event space. Unfortunately not. I mean, that's really the best. It's going to take probably some formatting, maybe some changing of sizes in order to get it to work the best. Also, when you're doing that, what you see there isn't necessarily what you're going to see when it's published, as we saw earlier on. So you're actually going to have to go in, either save as a draft constantly and then preview by you see up there view post, or you can constantly update that post itself, slow down WordPress's servers, and there you go. So that's really the best way. I wish there was a better way, but unfortunately there is not. Tumblr doesn't have that either, so yes. She wanted to know if you needed a Pinterest account to add the button to the bottom. You absolutely do not.
Do you know of any online tutorials?
She wanted to know if there are any online tutorials for Pinterest.
No, for WordPress.
She wanted to know if there are any online tutorials for WordPress. One of the girls that was sitting in the back, she actually asked me about WordPress back in December, and what she actually did was she just jumped right in and she actually bought a book called WordPress for Dummies. And I mean, that's not online unless you buy it in ebook form. So there you go. Any other? Yes, sir.
One quick, very little question. I know there exists a GraphPress which works with WordPress. What do you consider? How do you consider this theme frames from GraphPress? Are they better than WordPress?
His question was about GraphPress and WordPress. To be very honest with you, I have not used GraphPress because of the fact that I've never really needed to. I even forgot what GraphPress is really about. Doesn't it actually just deal with like pie charts and things like that?
They produce frames to do the blog or the website.
So you're saying that he said that they produce frames to do the blog or the websites. You mean themes?
Themes.
GraphPress? Graph Paper Press, yeah. You can buy themes from them, but those are only for WordPress.org. They're not for WordPress.com. Yeah, so you're either going to have to go through the nightmare that I went through and start out with .com, then .org, or you go right over to .org, or you just stick with WordPress's premium themes.
Oh, I see. But if you go with WordPress.org, do you think it's at the end result is better? Or?
He wants to know if I go with WordPress.org, is the end result better? And that really depends on your own patience, your own technical knowledge, and really just how much you really want to go in and you want to spend in terms of financial money, and also how much time you really want to dedicate to blogging yourself. So it's really a question that you have to ask yourself, and every individual here basically will have a different answer for that. Are there other questions? Okay, thank you very much for coming. If you have any other questions, feel free to approach me right afterwards.
For more information, please visit us online, give us a call, or stop by our New York City Superstore. You can also connect with us on the web.